Hello and welcome to episode 21 of The Men Are Talking. This week we're talking about computers. Whether you love them or hate them, they are definitely here to stay. Are they a helpful tool or a pending destruction? Let's dive in and discover the answers on this week's episode of The Men Are Talking. Welcome to this week's episode of The Men Are Talking. I won't describe to you guys what just happened.
The men are already laughing.
So, this week we're talking about computers. From the Commodore 64 and the Trash 80 to the magic Google box in your pockets. Computers have changed our world. For the better or for worse? Well, that seems to be up for debate. So today we are going to talk about, we're going to kind of freeform it. I don't want to, go around the room, if you will. We're going to start that way. We're just going to go around real quick and just tell a couple anecdotes involving computers. But I'd like for us to end up just having a discussion about how they affect our daily lives, what we think about the future. Hopefully we'll get into some AI shit, because that's scary. And
AI,
not in a
menace or threat.
not in a Terminator way.
Fucking SkyNet.
In a much worse way. We're gonna. I'm gonna start this week. After we go around and introduce everybody. So this week we have Bill.
Hello.
We have UBC.
Greetings.
We have Ferg.
What's up?
We have Dave.
Hello, hello.
We have Paul.
Hello.
And back to me, Larry. Alright, so my first computer was an Atari 800 XL. And after watching War Games, what I wanted more than anything in the world was a computer.
I thought it was to play a game.
No, there's actually, in War Games, when he and Ali Sheedy are on the run, and they go into the computer shop and use the computers, those are the original Atari 800s.
Wow.
Which are the tan with the dark brown key.
I just wanted Ali Sheedy.
Well, take a number.
Yeah. But anyway.
Well played, sir. Well
Computer
played.
says no.
So anyway, so after seeing that, I was like, hey, that's what I want to get into. So I saved up money, and I was almost had enough to buy the computer itself, not a hard drive or floppy drive, not printer, nothing else, just the computer to hook up to my 13-inch black and white TV.
Did you have the little slider box that is like TV versus input?
Yeah.
That went
Of
behind?
course I did.
Okay. All right.
How else would you change?
The two little prongs he had to screw into the back of the
wasn't
TV.
a- he wasn't a-
Everybody had that.
He wasn't a communist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, except for the one that came with the Atari, actually said, instead of saying game in TV, like the Atari 2600, it said computer and TV.
I know.
That's how you knew you had a computer.
Yep.
Huh.
Well, so I had saved up almost enough money to buy the computer, mowing lawns, doing all the shit we used to do to make money when we were kids. And for my birthday, which was when I planned on buying the computer, my parents actually gave me the money for a floppy drive and a printer. And Jefferson Ward, if you're familiar with Montgomery Ward, in Miami, it was Jefferson Ward. And they actually had it.
It wasn't Starship Ward
Nope.
at that time?
Nope, but they had a bundle on sale. They had a bundle on sale with the 9-pin dot matrix printer.
Wow.
Oh, I could print pictures of boobs. You have no idea.
Yeah.
This
Not
was
just on the calculator.
Dot
Yep,
matrix
yep,
pictures.
No, this was the coolest thing ever. And so that was how I got started. That was how I got started in computers. It was it had basic, so I could write programs. It had almost no memory.
How old were you?
Let's see, I was 12.
Wow. Impressive.
Yeah,
Very impressive.
11 or 12. 12. I was still in Texas when I was 11. That was
So
when
this
I had
was
the
80
MC10,
80
the Radio
That's
Shack
why you didn't get a
MC10.
Texas Instruments
82-ish?
computer.
Should be 83.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was my first foray into personal computers.
Your first four-way didn't come till later.
Your gateway.
That was later.
Well, that came later.
Yeah.
Larry fixed his.
It only lasted 12 minutes.
Larry fixed his floppy drive problem with that new blue pill they came out with.
No, it's a hard disk.
No, it's a hard drive.
It wasn't a 3.5 inch anymore.
And no. I should also point out that the Atari 800 XL used 5 1/4 inch.
Oh, well, at least
Floppies.
you're close to
They were actually
the
floppy.
median.
Satisfying.
Yeah.
Unlike the IBM
Yeah,
8
better
inch.
than 3.5. Although not like the Altair's 8 inch.
Yeah, the 8 inch. That's where we're.
Oh yeah. They called it a floppy drive, but
It definitely was afterward.
it was after.
Hey, nobody likes an 8-inch floppy.
Hey, I'm already hard right now.
Oh my God.
All right. Well, next let's move on to Bill.
All right. Well, probably my first foray
Right.
into computers.
I've heard it both ways.
Hearing about computers was my dad when he was in the Air Force. Was stationed near Chicago at the Nike site, which for years my sister thought was a shoe factory.
Wait, it's not?
No. And they had, although Michael Jordan did play for Chicago, so hey, wow,
Coincidence?
oh man.
Holy shit!
Yeah. So anyway, I remember him just telling me that they had to, even in the dead of winter, they had to run the air conditioners because it was tube computers.
Sure.
The vacuum tubes, and the heat that they generated, they had to run the air conditioners.
It was
year
bloody
round.
warm.
Yeah. And then my dad bought I think it was an IBM 380DX. 386 DX.
Wait. I have to ask. Was it a DX40?
I don't know.
Or 33.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
I know
a
real quick.
Corvette's 386.
I
is
know.
a
I know it
33.
cost him around $4,000 in the mid to late '80s.
Good Lord.
And
That sounds like a
he
DX40.
was a pastor at church, and he wanted to run a Bible program, and that's what it took to run that program. But he actually ended up with people in his church because he had the most powerful computer in town. His brother helped write the programming for the Patriot missile system. His other brother worked for Shell Plastics, and my dad had a better computer than both of them as a pastor. Direct connection to God. And yes, Paul.
Well, I have a question because early computers, and I'm not nearly as smart as everybody else in our cast tonight about computers.
You're not.
Yet
You're
he
the
is.
only one with a
You mean-
PhD.
Yeah, he
Well,
is
maybe
most
for-
educated.
well,
I
that's-
mean, informed.
I
not smart, but
submitted
informed.
as evidence that because I have a PhD, I'm not as smart as you guys. However,
You were smart enough not to go down that path.
well, something right. All right, but however, this is the thing. And I don't know if any of you know, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but it seemed like 86, which has a pejorative to it, which is if you want to get rid of something, You 86 it, and I don't even know where that comes from. But why were computers 286, and then 386, and then 4? Does anyone have any clue where that comes
Well,
from?
first there were
Yes.
8086.
Okay.
8088.
Okay.
So it
okay.
has to do
UPC
with,
may have a clue
the
here.
Instruction words, some were 6 bits long and some were 8 bits long.
Ah.
So my first computer was an IBM PC Junior, which used an 8088 processor,
Oh,
which
yeah.
was very cutting edge. And so it was 8-bit word length versus 6-bit word length. So in one pass of an instruction set procedure, you can have a longer word length, and by word we actually mean bytes. But
Understood. All right, and then one more question, and I'll move on because
so
I'm
in
really,
other words,
I'm
imagine
really
digging
learning
a
something.
hole
and
with a
then
bigger
go
shovel.
back to Bill.
Yeah, you'll move on. You mean you'll let?
No, I'm sorry.
Bill
Yeah, no,
finish?
it's my bad, but it's
And
related.
don't kind.
No, I'm sorry. My
Thank you
bad.
very much.
My bad. But also my understanding, and I'm just trying
Don't
to.
play the part of Michael tonight.
Now, of course, I'm making assumptions that maybe some of our audience doesn't.
I was thinking the same.
They
thing.
probably know lots more than me. But I've also, my understanding is that DOS is an acronym for Dumb Operating System.
That is not true.
What is it?
Disk operating system.
Okay.
I've heard it both
No,
ways.
that makes more sense to me, but that's it. It's just, I'm sorry, Bill. to
No,
interrupt.
not a problem
And
at all.
arguably,
No,
it's not really an
Larry
operating
said
system,
it's
but-
freeform. So my dad had that. My first foray actually into computers. My first job out of college was teaching at a small Christian day school in Bangor, Maine. And because I was the math and science teacher in high school, they decided that I was also
The computer.
the
guy.
computer science guy.
Oh, sure.
Because I knew
Science is science.
I mean, look, I did go to a Christian school that had a Wang lab, Wang computer lab.
Yeah.
Just had to get that out there. Wang at the Christian school, and I think they used.
That's why they
I
don't
think
have
they
peanut butter
used-
in the
I
commissary.
think they used the 8-inch floppies at the Wang computer lab. But I taught a computer class, and I knew nothing about computers. I mean, really, I had a crunch calculator, Texas Instrument.
Sure.
Which
And
one?
I can't remember.
Because I mean, TI-86 was
Look, 3 years before that, I learned how to use a slide rule.
yeah. But
And I don't know if you guys know this or not. A precursor to the computer was the abacus. And this year, for our anniversary, I got Heidi new beads for her abacus.
You lost
You're
the other
very
one?
generous.
No, it's the
It's the
little things that count. And so anyway,
I thought you lost the other ones in
Wow.
luckily.
Yeah.
I need to bring the snare drum.
So, anyway, so I taught this class on TRS 80s, trash 80s is what they were called.
Yep.
They were donated from the University of Maine, my alma mater. They were donated to the school, and they had maybe a 5-inch screen, maybe. And
whatever Maine's mascot is.
yeah,
Because nobody
Blackberries,
knows.
Blackberries, and they're
Nobody
playing
knows.
FIU in their opening weekend.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Oh, they have a team.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
FIU has a team.
No, I mean,
Either
we
way.
actually have those guys in the NFL, water boys. And anywho,
That was
That was
That was
amazing.
his name, yeah.
and so this class that I taught, what they used, there was no 3.5-inch, 5-inch, 8-inch. The drive. Anybody know what the drive was for a trash 80?
micro cassette.
Yep.
No, regular cassette.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, cassette tape.
Yeah.
I was going to say
You
chain,
plugged a
but
cassette tape player in if
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
wanted. And by the way, I could never figure out how it worked. I mean, it's if x equals 1, if x equals this, then this. If y equals this, then this, and you can make a sine wave. And that's about as far as we got. And
So
You,
So
you,
it's
you,
algebra.
were, you were asking a couple weeks ago about you and Bill learning programming.
yeah.
The answer is no.
There you go.
Back then, Bill, you had a valuable resource that we don't have today, and it's called documentation. you could go to a bookstore and buy a 5-inch thick book for $20 that was all the commands of DOS 2.0 or
Yeah.
Unix System 5 or whatever, and you had these tutorial ones, and this is before the Dummies series of stuff. These,
Yeah, well,
these were really well written books.
When I was in school, we
I
wrote.
still own like 12 of these for.
We didn't go
course
to
you
the
did.
library or bookstore and get that. We wrote stuff down with coal on the back of a shovel,
Right.
and that's how we did. But, yeah.
Well,
But that was my first.
You
you
could
harken
take a
back-
man out of
you
West
har-
Virginia.
You harken back to your West Virginia days.
No, when he says stuff, he literally means they wrote the word stuff on the back of a shovel.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta
Okay.
call a spade a pointed shovel.
But they only use one F.
Woof.
Yeah. So that was my. Yeah, I have a couple more
Well,
anecdotes. but
what was your first computer?
my first computer was an Apple Macintosh.
The
Whoa!
original of that.
Can't hide money.
1995 or 96.
Okay.
So it was a
Knock
power
yourself out.
Macintosh.
And we
Yeah,
bought it.
94 was the commercial.
We bought it at the Sears
Ooh.
At the Sears.
with a
Roebuck?
dot matrix printer,
Nice.
and
You
paid
can print
around.
boobs.
I know I paid at least $2,500 for this computer.
Oh yeah, easily.
That's a
and
bargain.
might have been 35. I don't remember. I was talking to my
It probably
son.
was.
It was
Yeah.
gross.
And my next door neighbor was looking to, and we had the AOL dial up. And for work, I had does anybody know what a grid computer is?
Nope.
Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
A grid computer was a military computer that they used in the first Desert Storm. It could withstand getting
Oh,
wet.
you're talking
like
about the
hardened-
laptops?
The hardened laptop.
The hardened
Yes,
laptops?
it
Yeah,
could
they
take
they
a
could
bullet.
run. They could get
It
run
could
over by a
get run over by
Humvee.
a Humvee, a tank.
And they had a 30-minute battery life.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
also took about, I could get up in the morning, turn my grid on, shower, shave, dress, cook breakfast, and I'm finally connected. And if you had fucking call waiting, you could call. But the funny story about the Apple...
Star 6-8,
I,
6-7 was the shut off call.
Yeah.
waiting.
6-7.
You put that in your ATDT
Yeah.
line
Yep.
in your string.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my
What
next
the hell
door
are they
neighbor
talking about?
asked me, hey, what kind of computer did you buy? And I told him, so he went out and bought one. Well, this was at the dawn of email. So my next door neighbor, and I mean 15 feet away next door neighbor, I sent him an email, and then I ran over to his house, knocked on his front door, and I go, dude, check your email, and then ran back to my house.
That is
Well,
how
yeah,
we
but-
know
Alexander
for.
Graham Bell.
Right. Well, yeah.
But
Back
what
then,
we
that was
used-
actually cool.
What have
we
man
used-
wrought?
Actually, I say I had a dot matrix. I had a color printer because what we
Yeah.
used the printer for was we played this game called,
Oh, it might have been.
No, we-
what was it? Ink sublimation.
I don't remember.
Oh, like a thermal printer.
Thermal printer.
It wasn't thermal. We
Daisy wheel?
I
No,
don't
it wasn't
remember.
Daisy Wheel.
We
I
I
played
think it was
this,
Who's the Geek?
Yeah, we played this game. We played this game called Maelstrom, which was like asteroids on
Yes.
on
Yeah,
steroids.
100%.
Oh yeah.
And I would score the high score, and I would print off the score and tape it to his door. And then I'd come home the next day and tape to my door is his score where he beat me, and back and forth for months. And that's how stupid we were with the advent of the computer. We would still go, call, hey, check your email. I mean, that's how dumb we were. It was just pathetic.
It's like my mom who still prints out all of her emails and puts them in a
Yes.
file.
I
Yes.
put post-it notes on my phone
Yes.
like that
Yeah.
commercial.
Mom, have you heard of Archive?
Right.
Yeah.
Dear,
It is literally a thing
I
you can
even
do.
gave
But
her a
dear-
computer that had Adobe Acrobat Pro installed on it. Like, you can make PDFs out of
Holy
this
shit.
stuff.
yeah.
It was an old laptop that had
No.
Pro on it, and it was like, here
Dear
you go.
listeners, be careful of what you send to your parents
Oh,
in
Jesus.
email.
Oh.
Because there
Be
may
careful
be a
what your
hard
parents
copy
send to
somewhere. Yeah,
And just a little PSA real quick.
please.
There is nothing free on the internet. If you did not pay for it,
You're paying
you're
for it.
paying for it. You are the money. They're taking all of your data. They're reading your emails. They are mining you to hell and back.
P.T. Barnum 2.0.
Yeah.
All right, who farted?
That would be Ferg. Who's next?
Wait, I did?
Apparently.
No.
Well,
Oh, then I
Last-
I was just
I
cutting to you.
didn't even pull my finger.
He was just cutting. To you.
Ah.
Well, all right. So, my first foray into any kind of computer anything, I would say my brother and I were the first kids on our block to have Pong.
Oh, God, I
Oh,
forgot
yes.
about Pong.
And
yes.
so, like, you know,
Now, was it on the Atari 2600 or was
No.
it?
no,
the
it
little
was
Pong
it was
thing?
dedicated
Pong.
Pong
It was
machine.
dedicated
It was
Pong
just
machine.
All these things it did was
Only
Yeah.
thing, you know, and it had like the
Oh yeah.
had like the 3 or 4 games like where you could
did
play
you have
each other.
you had the deluxe?
Well, where you can make the paddles bigger?
We had a
Right.
4-position
So
toggle
you had-
switch, and you
Right.
move the toggle
If-
switch, and
may I
now
ask
we're
you a
going to play
question?
this game.
The 10
Did you
game.
have the small panels
No.
and big
The
panels?
game was on the 2600.
And did you have the double small panels and the doubles big panels?
Yeah, I
Sorry.
couldn't tell you. I was like 5, 6 years old.
Because that was the
you know,
deluxe. Yeah. Mm.
and you know, boop. But yeah, that was my first foray into any kind of computer,
Boop.
anything. Pong, yeah, where it's like,
Boop, boop,
Yep.
boop, boop.
you know,
One of the greatest games ever.
yeah, and so
Tennis.
Yeah.
basically, yeah, it was
Yeah.
basically, and then you could you know, just have it against the wall where it had the little hole that would move up and down, and you try to get it through the, you know, try to get it in the hole. 'cause
Yep.
that's-
Yep. The
Still trying.
and what
So,
you,
yeah,
yeah. What you spend the rest of your life
Right.
doing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Woof.
You're welcome for the setup.
And you cheated because you took a Sharpie and drew a little hair around it on the monitor.
Monitor, it was the TV.
Yeah,
right, you
TV.
know?
Your parents got super mad at you. It was like, why?
Why'd you use a Sharpie?
Why is there
Hey,
on around
the-
here?
It was
greatest-
already black and white.
The greatest thing about I was gonna say the greatest thing about Pong, you could put it on a black and white TV, and you didn't miss
Right.
anything.
There you go.
but you know, but actually, the first like computer I ever had was also the Atari 800 XL.
Nice.
You know, where now I didn't get any kind of bundle deal. I think I got it for Christmas one year, and then I saved up enough money to get the external. And yes, I had the cassette drive because
Oh.
I didn't save enough money for the disc.
Right,
'cause,
right. I
you
got
know,
you.
those things were expensive, and I was like 10
Well,
years
and
old.
discs were expensive.
Right,
That's when I
And-
learned about the
right, and you could.
the hole punch.
I-
trick to
I
make
have
it
one of the hole
double-sided.
punchers.
And
Actually.
you know, and you could use
Yeah.
just any cassette. It didn't have to be a specific, like, you know, something,
Right.
something that you would use, like, you know, make a mixtape with. You know,
What's a mixtape? Oh,
yeah,
that's
that's a whole
that's
other
another episode.
Listen up, kids. You're going to learn something.
But yeah, so, and the thing was, well, so when I got the computer itself, my dad also got me a subscription to, I can't remember, I want to say it was like Popular Computing or something like that.
Ooh,
or,
yep.
you know,
Byte. B-Y-T-E. That was
No,
a
no, no.
magazine at the
Yeah.
time.
Oh, popular
Popular
mechanics.
computing
Yeah.
was,
Okay.
And,
Popular,
and so at the,
Precursor
and so like,
to
you,
that.
you have articles about like, you know, different computers and everything.
popular
and
But
it would have
confusion.
programs.
But in the back of the magazine, it would have programs.
Yeah.
And you know,
type
and
them in
they,
word for word.
you would type them in, like, you know, you start off at 10 and 20 and then you know, go to, you know, and all this. I only ever got one of those programs to ever work, and I had recorded it on my cassette. You know, I downloaded it, I guess, onto the cassette, and this cassette didn't record. Yeah.
yeah, you just saved it.
Yeah, you know. But and all it was like it would say like a reflex test, where there was a little bar at the bottom of
yeah.
the screen,
Yeah.
where it's and like, you know, as soon as like you'd see something like filling up the bar, you'd hit the the space bar, and it would tell you how fast it took you to hit the space bar.
It was like a love tester in an arcade in the 1960s.
Not unlike, right. And so, you know, it's like, and I played that game for like 3 weeks. Oh my God, I finally got a program to freaking work.
My program.
I know, because every time, I guess, like, you know, and it was like 110 lines that you would have to, you know, type out to get these, and they were stupid, simple programs. But it was the only one I ever got to work, because I'd type all these things out, and then I'm like, why is it not working? And then I'm like going back through, and I'm trying to like go line by line.
It was
like,
probably
you know,
because the Atari 800 XL had a horrible keyboard.
well, probably, yeah. I mean, that's.
I mean, I loved it. Don't get me wrong, but the Commodore 64 had a much better
but
keyboard.
The one thing I did like about the Atari 800 XL. Now you couldn't play games from the like the 2600, but it still had a cartridge slot.
It did.
Where you could, and like they only ever made like 8 to 10 games for that thing. I mean, I don't remember
The space shuttle one was.
that was the only game I ever had for it.
Yeah.
And then so I had my
It was
joystick.
hard.
Oh yeah, but like so. But I mean, I was 10 years old
Yeah.
when it was probably about 83 or so when
Yeah.
when I got it. So yeah, it was freaking amazing. But at the same point in time, I'm looking back at it now, going, wow. The little space bar button where I just boop, okay. 0.02 seconds, because I'm basically just pushing the button randomly. Like now, it's like I'm trying to break the but because I was like, yeah, nah, it didn't go yet. Nah, it didn't go yet.
At
And,
any point in playing that game, did you ever were you able to go past 12 minutes?
No, never. My reflexes are way better.
Yeah.
than
But
that.
that's very
Right.
nice.
Dave?
I was not a computer savvy individual as a kid growing up. I don't think we had a computer till.
You were cool, weren't you?
Well, I don't know about that. Far from it, but
And still not.
most of the early
For
computer
both
experiences,
ways.
since we didn't have one in the home, probably till the early '90s. Most of my buddies had computers, but they seemed to be always for gaming purposes and so on and so forth. So I was lucky enough in grade school to have a computer lab per se, where of course the Oregon Trail is the go-to from that era.
You
But
have dysentery.
there was a game, and I remember it was 5th or 6th grade, and if you want to call this programming, there was a game called Pause, P-A-W-S,
Okay.
and it was about learning the home row keys. So
Okay.
they would throw a word out there like alfalfa, and you had to type the word alfalfa faster than the cat could get across the street. And the cat would speed up, and you would have to type faster, and therefore, expand your typing horizons in order to gain typing knowledge. That was all well and good, but my mother was a journalist, so it ended up me basically dictating whatever paper I had to write, and she could do it faster. So on a typewriter.
Right.
Yeah.
So that game was basically Mavis Beacon meets Root Beer Tavern.
Yes. Yeah. Essentially. Yeah.
That's why Gen Xers
Wasn't
hate
it
that.
some-
Fewer
Did
references.
you
It wasn't-
mention what kind of computers they were?
We got. I
Were they trash 80s?
don't
Every
recall.
school got trash 80s.
They were.
Middle school had
they were
Apple
definitely-
IIGSs.
They were definitely an IBM. I didn't run into a Macintosh until high school, and luckily the art department bought 3 of
Well,
them.
the trash 80s were neither.
And you had to schedule time. So you got scheduled
I think we
time.
had the Radio Shack ones.
That's the
Tandy.
trash 80s.
It's Tandy.
Was it
Well,
Tandy?
No. Yeah, trash 80.
Yeah, it
TRS
is,
80.
but
This is the Radio Shack ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we had at Washington.
Yeah.
When we
Well,
were
I'm
there.
talking about. I went to junior high, not middle school.
Oh, well, in high school, those were
Yeah.
the same ones in the computer lab.
yeah, we got some apples in high school. We were able to, do some digital work then. I don't recall if it was Photoshop. It might have been a Corel program of some sort.
Probably Corel Draw.
Yeah, because
Draw,
Photoshop was either not out yet or very, very expensive.
Yeah, it was before they gave it away to all the schools.
Yeah. Now then,
there was
Hey.
Aldous PageMaker also, which was a graphic design thing.
yeah,
Did you have that?
Yeah,
I
but
did not.
That was before
I
Adobe
got-
said, "Hey, let's give it to all the schools, and
Right.
that way all these people will know how to use it.
Right.
When they get out of school, they'll buy it."
But yeah, we acquired a computer for the household. I think sometime in '92, which is a couple years before I graduated high school. So I wasn't too super savvy on it, and it was probably the most expensive piece of machinery next to a car within the home. So
Yeah.
Dad was very protective of it. So basically, I played F-15 Fighting Falcon on it, or Fighting Strike Eagle on it, and
Sure.
and
Oh, yeah.
was lucky enough to get like whatever it was.
I
Probably
love
a,
that game.
yeah, it was probably a $60 joystick, which was
Yep.
just fucking amazing.
I still have mine, by the way.
I then got my first email address in college, which was mind blowing in a way to be able to talk to friends and family across the country. I've always been a big advocate of advertising. Of course, the 1984 commercial of Apple and the George Orwell and the Hammer and all this kind of stuff. We mentioned it earlier about gateway and processing and the guys dancing in the Devo suits, fantastic. We also mentioned that was into it, and then gateway with the cow packaging. Like once I graduated college and I was in New York, my buddies would get computers, and they were all in one computers. That was the hip thing to have.
Right.
Whether it's Apple or
Yeah.
an IBM, and just boom, it's all in one spot. So I really didn't get any motivation to be more into computers. Yeah. Sorry?
I got a question for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You went to a art college.
Sure.
Depending on what you were doing, your curriculum wise, your
Yeah.
interest wise, I would assume that an art college would have a pretty cutting edge computer lab at least.
Yes.
Where you could go in and use some really graphic intensive stuff like maybe
Yes.
some SGIs or
So this would
Apples that had the or even
SGI.
Amigas with video toaster if it were that long ago.
that was
kind of thing.
that was really when Apple was on its uprise as far as graphics go, and Photoshop I think was on like 2.2 at the time, and Illustrator had just come out. So sophomore year, it was mandatory to take a computer class. So you had to take computers for one semester, and we did great stuff. We were able to design magazine covers and album covers and so on and so forth. The watercolor function had just come out on Photoshop. Illustrator was still it's vector based, so it was still super blocky and unable to stroke per se. But that's a detail of the program, the function.
Right.
Function of the program.
I'm just like, I have no clue what any of you are
I
talking
was
about.
That's
just
fine.
going to ask what's your vector, Victor?
Right. Well, you're talking about.
And Dave,
What's your clearance, Clarence?
do you like gladiator
So
movies?
yeah,
Okay, good.
you tell your old man I bust my ass up and down that corner.
But Dave, Illustrator's still vector.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm getting at.
Still vector.
So Photoshop is like coloring in dots,
Yeah.
and Illustrator is like using math to draw,
Right.
Yeah.
more or less.
Well, okay, I know math.
Okay.
Drawing, no.
Well, you can draw a curve in math, right? I mean, you understand the concept of it.
Yes.
Yeah,
you
point A
can-
to point
you
B.
can- You can put in.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
Photoshop is typically used for an existing image.
Right,
You don't
for
create
touching up.
images in it.
You can.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can, but that's kind of a back end.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Do
The-
something,
the-
and
the-
then you've got other things
right.
that
Yeah, it's
generate
easier to
stuff
do
from
it
scratch.
in
Right.
Illustrator.
The nomenclature of popular society is that Photoshop is used for editing pictures, which is true, but it is also a very versatile design program.
In the modern
Yeah.
versions.
But
of it,
that's
The modern versions are stupid.
yeah.
They
but
are.
But you had Aldous PageMaker, which I think it got bought out by Adobe in the 80s. That
It
was
did.
a layout for like print journalism,
Right.
and it
Right.
was great for making newsletters and newspaper pages.
Sure,
and
because
whatever.
prior to that, you had the Ruby Lift or keyline and paste stuff, but that's a different
Yeah.
story.
I'm just curious, based on your art school
Yeah.
thing, if you were just strictly dealing with like manual, pencil paper kind
Uh-huh.
of stuff,
Right.
or were you? How much of your experience involved computer-based art?
So I currently have a Wacom pad, which if you're Wacom is the company.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's a pad you can a digital. I don't know surface
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
can that will
It's a
understand and
drawing
read
surface.
your movements with this
Use a stylus.
electric pencil.
Yeah.
Yeah, stylus. Yeah, electric pencil, whatever you want to say. So I have one of those, and I do enjoy it quite a bit. You know, it's pressure sensitive. You can quickly change from one brush to another, to a pencil, to a marker, what have you. However, it does not have the tactile application it does when you pick up an actual pencil or whatever. But
Right.
now we're talking from an art
the
point of
haptic
view.
feedback that
It
a
is-
real pen
Right.
and paper has.
Right. Now, they have addressed this and they've made sheets that go on top of them that feel like paper and so on and so forth. So you do get that tactile quality. I have always kind of been an analog artist as opposed to a digital artist, so it's a kind of a new foray. So, kind of my final words on this are about that topic. I did go back to university, the University of West Florida,
What?
about 5 years ago. And I wanted to rehash some of these digital applications in order to speed my process and make things more readily available and become more modern. So I missed out on a huge gap of technology. One of the courses I took was about art in the digital application. And through that, which was pretty much my primary programming experience at the age of 42, something like that, is amazing. So, programming websites, taking my images that I've made, selected, what have you, able to link them and then put them on a computer. And a lot of you guys, I think, were familiar with this, especially
Yep.
you, Larry, where I was able to send that website out,
Yep.
pull it up on your phone, which
Yep.
was nuts to me. So this is where the magical part comes in, and pull that up and go through this art-directed file that wasn't a website per se, but more of a digital art piece. Within that, we also experimented with something that you may or may not be familiar with, which was the Arduino. If you're unfamiliar with Arduino, it is essentially a programmable miniature CPU.
Correct. Yeah, it's another.
Like a Raspberry Pi.
It is the
Arduino,
same-
Raspberry
yeah.
Pi are
Right.
the same kind
Right.
of.
Yeah, it's not Raspberry Pi, but yeah, it's
Yeah, the other kind of
Are
competitors.
we talking about? Are we talking about Entenmann's?
Same market.
Entenmann's?
Entenmann's
Don't tell me about
Raspberry-
donuts.
Different. Okay, sorry.
No.
different Raspberry
No, no,
Pi.
no.
Coffee
I'm-
cakes.
Yeah.
Cake?
I'm
No,
sorry.
no.
I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry.
Yellow with chocolate cover. That's the only one. The perfect coffee donut. Anyways,
ask
I
any
beg to
New
differ,
York
but
Italian.
as you were.
so long story short, the Arduino is a programmable CPU, probably a little bit smaller than your remote control at home.
Yep.
You're able to plug into this device, attach it to your computer. There's so much information out there that you can make this little drive do anything. And when I get into it and say that, it is almost a robotics platform.
Well, yeah, you can build robots on an
Right.
Arduino.
Right. Most of these battle bots are programmed through these things,
Yep.
so on and so forth. So the project was to create something that the Arduino could do. You could get a series of fuses and capacitors and already programmed things to turn lights off, turn lights on, so on and so forth. One of the challenges presented by this particular professor was if you can get the Arduino to play the Imperial March when I walk into the room, I will give you an A.
Oh my goodness.
You did it.
I did it.
Of course you did.
I did it. This was right up my alley.
And then you
So-
stop showing up for the rest of the semester.
Pretty much.
I mean, that seems like a really good.
I would like to point
Bait
out
to bite on.
that as a bartender,
Yeah.
which Dave used to be,
Is.
Is. What?
Well,
okay.
dabbles.
he dabbles.
He's a man of many talents.
On my 50th birthday, when I walked through the door, the Imperial March was playing.
That's true. That's true.
Just a
So
public
I'd like to
service
say he
announcement.
still has it.
For anyone interested in Arduino programming, it's also a big thing in the ham radio community, but there is a thing called Dr. Duino, DRDUINO, I think it's .com,
Yeah.
or whatever. That's a great location, website URL to learn about it and get like easy to use tutorials, programmable projects, modules,
Yeah.
everything.
And
anyway.
Get your kids involved.
Well, yeah, whether you're of any age, really, it's boy, this might be a stretch to say, but it's almost digital Legos.
Yeah.
You can
100%.
and for a guy that didn't pick it up till, like I said, early 40s, it's doable and it's fun. And even if you can make the light turn on and off, it is such a rush of accomplishment. And it's very, very inexpensive. I think you can get the Arduino and the series of sensors for less than $200.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Dave mentioned Gateway. Are they still around at all in any shape, form, manner?
I don't know.
Wasn't Gateway bought by HP?
Compaq.
Well, Compaq bought HP. HP
Yeah.
bought Compaq. One
Well,
or the other.
HP. Okay, I believe we could all be wrong on this.
Wait, HP.
Gateway.
That's Hewlett Packard, right?
Compaq
Nice.
Okay, I got one. I got
Nice.
one.
Wait. I'm 95% certain on this one. Compaq acquired Gateway. Compaq and HP did
Merged.
kind of like a little intercourse kind of thing, the same way that IBM and Lenovo did, where
At the beginning.
HP originally acquired Compaq, but then they divested Compaq to do the consumer grade stuff, and HP only exists for enterprise grade stuff. The same way IBM only is enterprise grade computers. Now HP still sells shitty printers at
Right.
Walmart, but
Yeah.
in Best Buy, but
Oh no, they still sell shitty laptops.
right.
Yeah.
But I guess like their
yes, they
mid-grade
do.
like small business stuff is now
Have they changed their?
Compaq, and HP is only high end or like they're still holding on to the most
I
profitable
don't
low end
believe
stuff.
Compaq exists.
Okay, but they
anymore.
haven't changed their brand name to Shitty yet, correct?
No, they just are.
Okay, very
Oh,
good.
thanks.
All right.
I
I
don't
just
know,
wanted to
but,
make sure.
I'm an IBM guy, and
It's
I know
just-
that
yeah,
I wanted to make
it's-
sure our
yeah,
listeners were
Yeah,
informed.
it's not like the shitty walk.
We are not in our free form session yet. Dave gets to finish.
Oh, so at this point, again, the computer is still very magical and holds a lot of untapped potential. I will continue to learn and use it, and I've been very happy from a design and art platform as another tool to add to my repertoire, and working on continuing to learn and mastering such software. So
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dave.
Yeah.
Just
We will.
putting this out here.
uh-huh.
But I mean, you could draw a design on the computer,
Uh-huh.
print it out on like watercolor paper or
Right.
something, and then paint on top of.
Yeah.
that.
As obviously as technology has progressed, that interaction between, again, these different tools has become more. What's the word I'm looking for? Solidified.
normalized.
More transitional,
Integrated.
integrated. Yeah.
No,
Would that be
I
called
like
mixed media?
transitional
Would
better.
that be called mixed media?
It would be.
Yeah,
It would
but
be mixed
at this
media.
point,
If it were hanging on the wall at MoMA, it would be mixed media.
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
At this point, that's another art dilemma, but almost everything is mixed media.
Yeah, these days.
Right. In some sense of the word.
Right.
Paul, you want to throw some out there?
Yeah, well, I was just
Another
wondering
question for me?
because, well, I don't. Yeah, no, I do have a question for you
Yeah.
because you're very smart about art and I'm not trying to embarrass you, but a little bit.
Okay.
No,
Computers.
but Dave's a serious artist, and so I actually like probably 85% of the Peter Mac stuff I've seen.
Okay.
And my impression or my understanding, I should say,
Uh-huh.
of the way Peter Max will do stuff is he'll do, a painting, a drawing, whatever the right term is, and then they'll do sort of prints of it, but there's a term for making the print so that it's got
lithograph.
but it's got texture.
Okay.
And what I'm saying is computer wise, has there been some sort of meeting of the mediums?
It goes both ways. It's
Okay.
In my opinion, it's a sliding sliding scale in terms of what you're doing with art. So I've been lucky enough to do a bunch of conventions throughout the U.S. But I think at every convention I'll have my actual sketchbook open, paper and pencil, and have someone under the age of 18 say, "Wow, how do you do that?" And my initial reaction is, "Oh well, practice and time." And they go, "No, I draw. I just don't draw on paper." And that's you're really taking
punch.
No, that's
you're really
different.
Yeah, you're really
And-
taken aback by that phrase.
And as his manager,
yes,
I can attest to this.
yes,
Hey,
Well.
to jump on top of that, last year on vacation up in the mountains, we rented an Airbnb. There was a pool table in the basement. And when my grandkids got there, I said, "By the way, there's a pool table in the basement." And they went, "Oh my goodness," and went running down the stairs. And I go, "You guys know how to play pool?" And they go, "Yeah, we play it on our tablet every day."
yeah. So yeah, I mean that makes sense. This is the Pandora's box.
Yeah.
Which means they don't know how to play pool.
Which
Yeah,
I,
now.
They lag to
They
see
do
who
now.
breaks.
They do now.
I mean, this is the Pandora's box. Is what you can do with it as far as an artist and what you're creating and what is the final product. Now, let's just take a comic book for an example. If you make a comic book that's you've done completely digitally on some program, what is a philosophical question in what is its existence? Traditionally, we talk about guys that have lost hundreds of pages of original work, or guys that sell hundreds of pages of original work. Now your original work is hitting Control P, and there's something to be said about that. So
Control P.
isn't it print?
Huh?
Isn't that print?
Oh, print. Okay.
Okay.
All
Are we
right.
talking word star, word perfect?
No.
Because
Oh.
I thought.
I'm right? Control
Yes,
P?
you are.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's what
you don't know? I'm like, hell,
Yeah.
you're
Listen,
the computer guy.
Listen, I don't print anything.
See?
I don't
Exactly.
own a printer.
Right.
I own a printer only for the purpose of being a
Hey.
scanner.
Paper is
Bad.
to me.
Blasphemy.
I,
So this is-
No, it
well,
fills up file
Although I do
cabinets, it
print,
fills up
I do
furniture.
print
Sure.
on sticky paper aircraft logbook entries.
Yeah, I bet you
I,
do.
I
So
don't
anyway,
even. I don't
this is-
really own a
This
computer.
is
so
the
there you go.
Let
distortion.
Dave finish up.
This is the distortion of how you're going to limit something. Do you create something digitally, print it once, and call it done? Do you set yourself a limitation? Do you say, I'm going to do 250 of these? I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer.
Right. No. I'm saying, but that's where we get into like things like NFTs.
Which I'm fine with, segueing into.
Right.
You know.
Right. But that's
Right.
where NFTs
How does it-
kind of started was
Absolutely. How does it
Artwork.
exist? And then on top of that, who owns it? That's also an issue with NFTs. Is
no with an NFT you know who owns
well,
it.
right. I mean, in the sense of, you put an image on the internet. How is it used? Who can use it?
Right.
And
How-
who took the image? Who's
Right.
in it?
Who can pull it? Who,
Right.
a watermark is pointless at this. You can use a
Yeah.
program to
Oh.
fill in
The
the.
watermarks, especially with the
Right.
not even the latest.
Well, now we're
two
moving in.
versions of Photoshop ago.
Right.
You literally, it was a breeze.
Right.
You click on the watermark, it would mark
You
it,
just
and
flatten
you
it.
Correct.
fill
Yeah.
it.
No,
So-
Dave does a sketch one night in the bar of my incredibly average countenance, and everybody loves it. Is it yours? Is it mine? Is it both of us?
Well, coincidentally,
Was it Henry? Was it you as Henry VIII?
Well, I mean, most nights.
Okay.
well, I'll definitely do one of those.
Just put a beard.
It'll never be as good as Bunnerbill.
Depends whether I had my fat suit on, but you know.
I mean, this isn't necessarily art related, but I did take a picture of a dish that we have on the menu at the restaurant, which is a rack of lamb, and I was really excited about how the picture came out.
Was that the one you posted a couple days ago?
Yeah, it was the one I posted about a week and a half ago. It's a rack of lamb. Maybe you just saw it a couple days ago. Who knows?
And it's not the one you guys copied from George.
No, I've been infatuated with that for so
No,
long.
because it's Greek and its origin. Yeah, yeah,
Jabbing.
Because
Sorry.
it's actually good.
yeah. We don't need to steal your food.
Just jabbing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I know. I'm jabbing back.
But you're right. The Scottish farmer, whose lamb it was.
Right. Well, anyways, I took this photo and I put it up because I was like, oh, that looks great. You know, and you know, I was 85% of it had my hand on it.
Right? Right, you didn't kill it.
Right. But 2 days later, and with social media being what it was, a social media contact of mine put up the same picture on his profile.
Oh no.
And I was a little taken aback.
Yes.
Did he give you
I
credit?
no. And his message on the top was, I'm having trouble in my life, but I do know I love to cook, or something along those lines.
Oh, so he
So-
actually made it seem like
He
it was
cooked
something
it.
he cooked.
Yeah.
That's what I felt. And
agree.
so-
Without explicitly saying it, he implied
Right.
that he
So-
made this dish.
And I'm not this,
Yeah.
terrible person that maybe some other people think I am, but anyways, I did comment on the picture. I said, hey,
Well,
looks
Dave?
good. Any particular reason that you're using my picture? But of course, I got no response. And then,
I will say, fuck that guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Okay,
no, I get it. You know, maybe you saw something that looked good and you
Yeah.
put it on there. But
Yeah.
this happens.
I get
Well,
that, but you give credit.
10, dick punch. 20, go to 10.
So I just walked back out after grabbing another drink, and I'm just wondering, why the fuck is Dave still talking?
Because he's
We're asking
saying.
because
him
it's-
questions.
Because he's saying.
Yeah, we keep asking
He's saying
questions.
interesting things, but I
And we
understand.
keep asking him questions.
I mean,
By the way,
I'm
I'm
gonna throw.
just saying it's time to move on.
Oh,
It-
can I throw one more thing out there?
Sure.
All right. One more thing.
Ferg
Short story.
has approved.
Put
Short
your
story,
pants back on, Dave.
which Matt will appreciate.
Oh, well, as long as I'm going to appreciate it, then yes.
So a friend of mine was at a comic book convention, was walking by. There was a series of retail items. One of these retail items, there was a tote bag, perhaps, I'm paraphrasing, that had a Superman picture on it. My friend confronted the guy, said, hey, where did you get that picture of Superman? And he said, oh, you know, yada, 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 yada. And he goes, that picture of Superman that you happen to have on this tote bag only exists in one place. And he says, well, what are you talking about? He goes, my essential stepfather painted that picture of Superman. It's never been published, and it hangs in the office behind his desk. The only way you can get that is to go to his website, rip that picture off the website, and print it onto your bag. So you got two options. You can explain yourself. Well, no, not even options.
Yeah.
Anyways, the gentleman was told to pack his stuff up
Give me the bag.
and
Go away.
and leave. And this happened to Neil Adams.
Oh.
So this, there's-
Awesome dude.
yeah,
And I've got
Lead
stories.
singer for
I-
Rush, right?
Neil Adams is a famous comic book artist. Anyways.
He's on the Mount Rushmore of comic
Right.
artists. Like, you know,
Right.
like,
And
the
also,
quintessential
This
Batman
episode is about
artist.
print,
And
computers.
I've got stories about
I know it is,
Also
but
on
it
the
makes
Mount- on
it's
the
it's
Mount
about the
Rushmore.
digital
Also
Yeah,
on Mount
it's
Rushmore, one of the greatest.
digital age, the dangers of the computer, the Pandora's box,
Yeah.
the NFTs, the
Oh, we're gonna
AI,
get to that on
the
AI.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
on and so
Oh,
forth.
we're
Yeah.
getting there.
Anyway, I don't want to take up any more
I do think
time.
we should
All
have.
right, hold on, Paul. You're next.
Wait, before Paul starts, I
Please.
just want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by the word foray. And if we sound a little lackadaisical, which I don't think we do, It's 11:30 at night, and we're sitting outside. We have to turn our fans off because they mess up the audio, and it's still 87 degrees. For those of you in Australia,
Wait, Fahrenheit?
that's 30.8, I believe.
Yes, and it's also about 59% humidity, which ain't
59,
fun.
you
No,
wish.
it's more than that.
It's about
Well,
89.
It's about 87.
A lot.
My nut
It's a lot.
bag is, I got swamp ass
All right.
and nut fog.
Well,
Well,
that's not what we're talking about today.
tonight's episode brought to you by
By
Gold
Nut
Bond
Fog.
Medicated.
And,
Alright.
and honestly, could we bring it?
Back to
Have
nut
it
fog?
been brought by 4-way instead of 4A? Just
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
You find a couple chicks.
The one thing I know is no one's going to make a Freudian slip about foreplay. Nobody here knows what the
Three
fuck that
times.
is.
All right.
there we go.
So we're moving on to Paul.
All right. Well, so I need to, and with all my compadres here, I'm not ashamed to say my
English,
knowledge.
please.
Well, not all of them.
Órale,
Michael's
ese.
not here.
Well,
Compa.
so
¿Dónde está
I-
la Biblia?
I-
Will's not here.
I think I said all of my compadres here.
That are here.
Not
Okay,
all
You
of
said
my,
that. No.
not all of my compadres.
No, you said all of them.
All right, we'll
Yeah.
cut that out. But anyway,
Okay.
We won't.
Okay.
but here's the thing
Solamente los que
is
están aquí.
there's muy bien, mucho
I
gusto.
can't believe it's not butter.
Hey, hey.
Parquet.
You know, I like to say mucho to all of my Spanish-speaking friends because it means a lot.
All right, so look,
Que lo sepas.
look,
let's
I thought that
grande.
wouldn't go over as
Hey,
big as the
Larry.
abacus.
Larry, look, I'm a little drunk,
I don't know.
but
What?
but so but they certainly know more about computers than I do and have more experience and can certainly
The hell you say?
Yeah,
Hey,
you
could-
Ferg.
and can
Oh.
certainly
You're only here for tech support
Oh
tonight.
no, he's still got like an
Because you own the
iPhone
equipment.
5.
it's a 7.
I don't have an iPhone.
So
I know.
Fuck
but you have a much
iPhones.
newer phone than he does.
Well, because my last phone died. I had
Your
to.
last phone was newer than his phone. His phone is like
my
6 years old.
my
cares?
It's a dodo bird.
Does it
but
work?
it's-
Is it a phone?
It works.
It
Does
does
it make
not.
and receive calls?
It
It does
functions.
not.
Then it's
Correct.
a fucking phone.
It works perfectly.
Apparently it doesn't, or he would have been here at 9.
All right,
Is
write
it
this.
Instead of,
Is it a Zach
instead of
Morrison?
10.
Write this down.
Do you
You-
have a fin?
UPC could not be more correct.
Then it works.
Dead silence. It's fantastic.
work?
Yes.
No one ever wants to hear
it does
that.
what it needs to do.
Does
All right.
your dog bite?
So what I was trying to say in a complimentary way is my compadres that are here have more computer experience and know
yeah.
more about.
Yeah, we get that. We want to know what your first computer was.
Or
Wow.
Or will be.
Or might be
Alright.
in the future.
All right.
We're going to wax
Then I-
Planet
When you
once
stop
you
sucking
guys
off
are
the
done.
teeth
Then I'm not
and
gonna
you
call you
buy a
air,
computer
you guys.
for yourself.
You pain in the booty. So I have 3 very brief stories.
It's called Producer.
The first one is my first computer in '84. My dad bought a Mac when it came out, and I was able
Macintosh.
to. Yes, it was called the Macintosh, absolutely, and I was able to write some papers in high school on it. It literally had 2 megabytes of RAM
Damn, that was
That's a
fast.
shitload of
and a
84.
1 megabyte hard drive.
God
Okay.
damn.
That's a
So-
shitload in 84.
So
Yes.
did not have a
what?
1 megabyte
So what?
hard drive.
What is a megabyte and what is RAM?
Anyone want to take that?
It's
Well,
actually
Well,
probably
okay, RAM is random
MIBbyte.
access memory.
really quickly,
Probably
It
a
is-
MIBbyte.
Ferg
but
it is,
apparently
uh,
doesn't know the difference between jelly and jam.
Well,
24.
no, it's like I can't. Joey might dig up someone's ass.
All right.
Literally, when your computer says that you're out of memory, no, this is the difference.
Are you not?
RAM
Now
versus
listen,
hard drive.
ladies and gentlemen.
It is a RAM problem.
Ladies and
not a
gentlemen
hard
of the
drive
jury,
problem.
please listen. What we need to do is, I'm sure there are plenty
You
of our
asked
listeners,
the question.
but you're not explaining it, Lucy.
I just did.
No, you didn't.
Go back and listen to it.
If I may, like I said, it's a little warm out here. If I may, Larry and I have a band called 999 Megabytes because we haven't gotten a gig yet.
All right, but here's the thing, and you all can.
I think I killed
You're
you.
all-
Please tell us your story,
Wait,
please.
hold on.
End the pain.
Is that actually funny?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait.
Oh my God! All right, so I'm gonna
Computer says no.
just to reboot. The first computer I had 2 megabytes of RAM and had 1 megabyte hard drive, which meant you could only do very short, small projects on it. I did that when I was in high school. My dad let me take it to college. In college, most of the guys, if they had anything, the most advanced thing was a Corona typewriter where you could, before you hit the button to actually make it type,
Yes.
you could see 2 sentences. And that was
Yeah,
remarkable.
yeah.
All right,
Yes.
my thing was,
But you only did short programs?
correctamundo, because I wasn't that tall, and I'm not now. But if I got to 8 pages on a paper, my computer the screen started to waver. No, it started to be like, wait a minute now. You're really pushing the envelope. All right, so that was my first computer experience.
And then Kelly LeBrock appeared.
There you go.
Was that your computer or the acid?
Well, I've heard it both ways. All right, but then the other bit is my second, like when the internet started
So
to
hold on
hit.
computer terms.
There you go. So a few years later, not many, when I got to ground school, the first what should I say? The first steps into the general population of the World Wide Web.
Oh, the www.
Talking about the
There you go.
WWW?
No, because it was what's his name? Berners-Lee was the fellow's name. That came up with the World Wide Web. One of the first things was something called Gopher, and it was called Gopher because it was email, and it was through the University of Minnesota, and they called it Gopher.
Minnesota.
Right, but in order to get onto
Go Vikings.
right,
I'm assuming their mascot is a gopher.
it is.
It is.
Okay,
And-
Golden Gopher.
There you go. But in order to get on it, you still had to use DOS prompts, and once
Nope.
you were
It was Unix prompts. Sorry.
no problem. I'm stupid about this.
No,
I've
no,
already
no, you
admitted
just
it.
didn't know.
No,
I
no,
was-
no. Go ahead. Interrupt me some more. It's no problem.
Hey, I was just correcting you so you wouldn't make the stupid mistake again.
Thank you for correcting my computer English. What stinks. So and you still have to have other prompts. It was not a World Wide Web interface.
It was not.
And then my last story is, and this is my favorite one.
He thought Unix was DOS.
Ow. Those crazy kids.
So
That's my friend Larry. So now this is my favorite one. All right. So I happen to be born in Kansas City,
sorry.
Missouri, and the
I'm
reason
sorry.
I was born in Kansas City, Missouri, was my
'Cause
dad.
that's where they fucked.
oh, that's where they were
No.
at the time.
That's not. No,
That's where the brothel was.
It's not where that happened.
Let the man finish the story.
Sorry.
Wow. Okay,
I'm
so
just trying to take up enough time that we have to make UPC cut it short.
Yeah, because computers. Come on.
all right. So I was born there because my dad was a civilian employee of the Air Force. He had been in the Air Force. He got out. He came back. He was a computer programmer trainer. Many of our listeners may know. If you don't, NORAD is in Colorado, and they operate the mutually self-destruction ICBM missile defense that we have. Right.
Yes.
Now, simultaneous with that is, let's assume, because we want a fail-safe, sorry, that, NORAD may be taken out. Well, out of Kansas City, because it's close to Lawrence, Kansas, and if you try to find the dead center of the United States, it's Lawrence, Kansas. Kansas City has the closest major airport. So regularly out of Kansas City, there are several planes in the air, and they switch out when they run out of fuel, that also operate the same commands that NORAD can.
It's about the E8s.
Correct. So if NORAD can't do it, then you have planes in the air, which would be
G-stars
hard,
and all that stuff.
right? Which would be hard to target. That can also push the missiles. This is not a fun topic, but that's what my dad did.
But I'm hard.
He was well, very good.
That's because you remember crawling under a desk.
Right there you go. That's the best protection against nuclear war is being under a
You and
desk.
Becky Reynolds stuck in a
Hey,
I always use protection.
I actually bought 2 of those desks
All right.
for my house, for me and my wife, just
Well-
in case.
No, you're a loving and protective husband.
Prepper you.
It's fantastic. All right, but here's the rub. My dad was training the guys that were programming those planes. Right? Replicating or doubling what NORAD had. Now, my dad, who is a brilliant fellow, he really is, and he's still on the planet, he's 85, he's great. Between the early 2000s...
You're only saying that
Doctorate?
because he's still alive.
Does he have a doctorate?
Do I just have interrupt written across my freaking forehead?
No, everyone else
All
has
right,
been
apparently I
interrupted.
did.
Remember that nap you took earlier today?
Apparently so. All right.
Remember when you
I'm still
interrupted-
asleep.
Remember when
This
you
was the screwy dream I had.
Hey,
I got you.
Remember when you interrupted Dave and
No.
Bill?
No,
I think I did it politely,
Don't make me throw you off.
and I
the
think
house.
I asked. But
he
anyway,
did raise his hand.
between the early 2000s and the middle 2010s, pretty much every 3 months, my dad would call me to help him with his email. So those of you out there that feel comfortable with the mutually assured destruction thing, you may question that possibility.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Because really,
Well-
you programmed or trained the guys who programmed the planes to destroy Russia, but you can't figure out your email.
Yeah, but
Alright,
the thing is, email is not Fortran.
I-
B-52s are written in
Yeah,
Fortran.
Fortran or COBOL.
Exactly.
Whatever it is, I'm
No.
a little suspect. Let's say.
There was literally a call out, like, I want to say, probably 10 years ago, to anyone who could program Fortran or COBOL to come to work for the government, because those systems, everyone who could program them retired. And
I understand.
They were paying a shit ton of money to anyone who knew how to do it.
But this
My
is
dream
so.
job-
This is
my
why
dream job
you're
is
in
to
the
take
witness
over
protection
for
program.
the guys running the Voyager
Not
program.
as far as I know.
I'm not in the witness protection. We talked about that.
Sorry, my bad.
Just quickly, in Paul's defense, I spent a long weekend in Thailand. I couldn't tell the difference between DOS, Unix, and Fortran either.
Thank you very much. All right, fantastic.
Could you tell the difference between male and female
So,
in Thailand?
were you doing a thing?
You're in Thailand for a thing.
Not a thing I can.
Well,
not a thing
It was
you
a
can talk about.
long weekend.
Did you use Rosetta Stone?
But that's yes, sir.
Larry came over tonight, and he's my own personal Jesus or personal IT guy.
I understand.
And
I've heard of
for
those.
What's the
some
difference?
reason, same.
Exactly.
And for whatever reason, my Alexa stopped connecting to the internet. He unplugged it, plugged it back in, connected to the internet.
Amazing.
Well,
Oh my
that's
God.
modern IT
There you
support
go.
for you.
There you
Well,
go.
hey.
But that's. I'm sorry I don't have more, but I'm not know as much as you guys, and that's what I got.
But it really is the silliest thing ever, but it's true. Turn it off, turn it back on again.
And yet Paul says
All right.
he doesn't know anything about computers, and yet every night he's at the trail of his computer.
Wait. But also, how long was Paul sitting with the Alexa that was not connected to the internet?
I don't remember that.
The only good Alexa is one not connected to the internet.
What's Alexa?
She was very pretty.
Exactly.
Or who's Alexa?
Oh,
It's
Well-
fucking.
I mean, I guess I have a question of interaction.
Please rescue me.
Yeah, is and you know, as a segue to events, is how often do you check your email, and within that, how many email accounts do you have?
check my email every day.
Do you have do you have a routine? Like I have no routine. Like I will
have a
go a
routine.
week without
If there's
looking
a
at my
number, if
email.
there's
I go
a
a
number,
month.
Yeah,
if there's
okay.
a number on there,
Once a
that
month.
number has to go away.
Okay. Do
I'm
you
one of those people.
so you're
I
on
may
your
not read it.
are
I'll
you
just
are you
swipe
on
it
your
as read.
phone or on your computer? Like I
Right.
don't open my computer maybe twice a month.
Both.
Okay.
Well, obviously you're not playing Diablo 4.
Oh.
And you totally should.
I have.
Well, yeah, but it costs $79 and I got to pay for soccer. So
Dave, I have
you can buy the
two
$59
email
version.
addresses.
all right, it
One-
costs $59. I got to pay for soccer.
I have two email addresses. One is the email address that, had I known I was going to use this for everything, I would not have chosen the long, lengthy name that I chose.
Yeah.
But I thought I was just using
William.
Do not give out your
I'm
email
not giving out my
address.
email address.
I can understand your-
Yahoo.com.
I can understand your penchant for something having long and lengthy.
And then I have another
Wishful
email
thinking.
address that's pretty much just there for fantasy football.
Well, hopefully
And
that's your
so
Gmail.
I only check. No, it's Yahoo, but because we use
Yeah,
Yahoo.
even worse.
But that's about all I use that for. And because I am job searching,
Right.
recently I look at it every day, but
Sure.
I can go weeks without looking at my email and then go, wow, I got 47 emails.
Understood.
All right. It is time to move on to our last presenter so that we can get to the battle round. So, our last presenter is UPC. You have literally 10 minutes.
Okay.
Oh,
I
Let's
think I
call
can
it
actually
4.
be briefer than that.
Oh,
Is
all
there a
right.
particular question?
There's
that I
no
need to
way
answer?
in
That's
hell.
Elmer
first
Fudd said
computer. First
more,
computer.
more briefing.
Okay, my first computer was an IBM PC Junior, which I still own to this day,
Of course you do.
with all of its accessories and software.
Which door does it
software,
hold
and its
open,
original
by the way?
packaging, because as a child,
You have the packaging?
Yep, I have King's Quest 1 in the original packaging. I have Microsoft Flight Simulator, the first version, in its original packaging.
I'm going to interrupt you right there.
Yes.
King's Quest was amazing.
Yes.
That
Okay.
computer is in one of the 7 cars that doesn't run.
No, because those cars are not climate controlled.
Well.
All right. So that was my first computer, and it really is a harbinger of the story of my life, choosing superior technology over long-term existence and support.
Oh, you're like me.
I'm an
always
IBM
You always
guy.
pick the underdog.
I was an
Yeah,
IBM guy through and through.
You had Beta.
When
didn't
it
you?
came to
Yep. And HD DVD.
home game systems, ColecoVision,
Yep.
which I have. I still have my original ColecoVision with all the accessories, with original packaging, and the Atom module that plugged into the
Yep.
ColecoVision.
Yeah.
Plus, I also have a separate standalone Atom computer
Oh.
and the dot matrix printer, which is technically the power supply for the computer.
Well, yeah, but the Atom computer, the first computer to look like a stereo with its dual cassette.
Yeah, dual cassette. Yeah, but I have both versions of the Atom. I have the Atom expansion module that plugs into the ColecoVision game system, and I have a standalone Atom. All of these I still own.
I think UPC and Larry should get a room.
All right. I am getting a little hard right now.
Yeah.
But wait until
It's okay, me too.
wait until I get to my servers. All right, so I have the IBM PC Junior, which at the time there was a third-party company who offered this expansion kit that opened up the top and gave you a dual floppy drive and an extra bunch of RAM.
What the
It was a
fuck?
company called Raycor, so it gave me 640K of RAM instead of 128K, and it gave me a second 5 1/4 inch floppy. I have that expansion kit I also have a shitload of original vintage IBM software with its slip covers and binders and everything. That's not all. I also have an IBM RTPC, which is their first RISC chip home computer slash small business computer. It uses something called a ROMP CPU, and it runs something called PIC OS.
Oh yeah.
All right. I have a PC Server 704 that runs 4 Pentium Pro processors with the 1 megabyte onboard L1 cache.
4?
4 quad processor.
Hey, and I can tell you what a pussy tastes like.
I'm pretty sure I tasted one more recently than you, sir.
Whoa!
doubt that.
Oh my God!
Wait, what
What time
were
is
you
it?
doing on
Oh!
What
Oh,
time?
Bill
What time
disaster.
is it?
What were you doing 2 o'clock this afternoon?
Tuesday? Yeah. Wait, where was your wife at 2 o'clock?
No.
Anyway,
She was at work.
Wow!
I have
Well,
I have an IBM PS2 9595 server, which is a 486 DX2 processor, but it's a micro-channel bus.
It's warm out here.
I have the IBM
Is that
ThinkPad in.
266?
Okay.
It's a. It's a.
Is he actually talking English?
60
Yes.
The key is the micro-channel bus architecture.
Yeah.
That is the thing. And it's an
ironically, the
OS2, it was
Argentinian
designed
secret
for OS2.
police are raiding his house at the moment.
I have an IBM ThinkPad N40, which brand new, sold for close to
Cunnilingus is
20
showing
grand.
Well,
This runs an RS6000 CPU, a RISC chip, and it runs AIX or Solaris. I have a dual CPU G5 Apple X Serve. I have an Apple Power Mac Dual G4 that I used in my
Wait.
big Boink farm as a PTP server running Debian,
Oh,
Debian Linux. I have an
I don't know what a
SGI,
Boink farm is, but I'm pretty sure I want one of
an
those.
SGI Alpha 450, which is a full 42U rack server system with each
I'm gonna
blade.
boink everything.
Each blade has 2 Itanium dual core processors
Which are useless.
for now.
But Itanium
several
sounds
SGI
cool.
Indies,
It
a
does.
DEC Alpha Station, and a
Itanium
Substation
was cool.
4, which is a little square desktop machine running a Sun chip, and it ran Sun OS. But those are the non-Wintel systems that I have.
Oh, you're gonna keep going.
Let's not even
Fuck.
talk about
No, we're not even going
There's
there.
No,
There's
can
no
we just
point.
cut him
I have
off,
a
please?
wide variety of Xeon
Yeah.
servers and whatever.
Titanium, is that what Captain America's shield is made out of?
No.
It's
Yeah, it's
vibranium.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I've heard it both ways.
So, yes.
That runs V86,
I'm just-
not I86.
having heard this, and I'm pretty much blown out of the water. And there are many people sitting around this table that know about computers, but you win the computer geek trophy. I just think.
Now, I ran through the list really quickly because I want to reserve my time. To
Okay, but
explain.
Oh, you're
do
gonna keep
any of
going.
those computers do AI?
No, fuck AI.
Why not? Aren't,
Fuck SkyNet.
aren't they smart enough?
I don't.
Get to the chopper.
You know what?
Brother.
They run an AI flavor called Stuart Smalley, which is good enough or smart enough, and doggone it, people like it. It's kind of a tamed down AI.
All right. So
Yeah.
All right.
It's the Stuart Smalley
Well,
distribution.
and
Takes us
and they
back to
can
Michael Jordan and
and they
Nike.
play an amazing triangle.
Well, now
here's the thing.
that
My
good.
computers exist in my house. They are alive. They are preserved.
Are they on?
They are not, because when I have all of this stuff, most of these things I actually had all running at the same time about 6 years ago. But when I bought my house, my electrical system cannot handle any of this.
So have you rewired
And actually,
that?
Dave helped me bring in that giant
Oh, yeah,
fucking
yeah.
server, the Altix 450.
I did.
Yeah, which I bought strictly for the enclosure because it looks like something straight off
No,
the
but
Enterprise D from
This
Next
all
Generation.
this all explains
Well, it's
Yeah.
all about the D.
this all
Yeah.
explains
Wait,
that
wait,
wonderful
so-
glow you
but-
have. It's from
but
all
wait,
the EMFs.
Wait, hold
from
up.
these
Are you
computers.
telling me you've got a holodeck?
No, what I did with all these things. There are two things. One is
First
What
moving
happens
in.
on the
for
What
those.
happens on the holodeck stays on the holodeck.
Well, obviously.
For those who don't know me, I do have a certain
Proclivity.
Which is
proclivity
everyone.
toward the preservation of really cool historical technology.
Mm.
Right? I don't give a fuck. You want to give me your college computer that ran Windows 95 and it had a Celeron CPU. Fuck it. I don't give a shit about that. I don't want it.
Me either.
I
He does
want.
not own an Altair.
Yeah. I did have a PVP 8 that we talked about earlier
Yeah.
that I currently don't have because I threw it away because it was oxidized and rusted and stored improperly and did not power up.
All right, you got
Anyway,
3 minutes.
my point is there certain technology, whether it's cars, airplanes, computers,
Horse and
the
buggy.
people who
Dildos.
put that energy, that intellectual input into creating these. And whether or not those things achieve market success through the fucking mouth-breathing bell curve of 100 IQ consumers, right? Or some marketing scheme that failed and other companies had a better advertising program, that lured buyers into it, it does not diminish the beauty of the technology.
Correct. Agreed.
That technology should not be in a landfill. Well, first of all, it should never be in a landfill. It should be recycled as electronic waste, but it deserves to exist in its own right. Especially things, these wrist chip things and
Go green.
rare
Go
limited
green.
production stuff that was designed to fill some
Oh.
weird niche.
Wrist chips were
Thought
amazing.
you hated
Yeah.
the Packers.
They
It's not
And
easy
the
being
point
green
is,
crap.
like, they need to be preserved in working condition. And 5-6 years ago, before I built my house, I was able to have the greatest moment of all of these, as many of these things functioning at the same time, because I ran this Boink farm. And if, for those of you who don't know, Boink is Berkeley Open Infrastructure Network Computing. It is something that I encourage anyone with a computer to do who isn't brainwashed by this goddamn crypto mining shit. This is doing work for science. I was crunching data for the Large Hadron Collider at CERN before they even built it. I was one of their top data crunchers, and people like me were, not individually but as a group, cited in academic papers because there was no way anyone could publish this paper without the data that we produced by our volunteer computing. So I had a giant Boink farm running all these things, like finding the largest super prime numbers and doing radio telescope crunching for SETI.
45 seconds.
I just want to commend you for both preserving the old technology and serving as a surrogate for landfills. I think that combination is kind of mind blowing.
Have you
Yeah,
seen his,
that's why my
have
house
you
looks
seen
like a
his-
serial killer house with
Have
all
you
these
seen his
computers
butter
stacked up.
churner?
And that's why I haven't been in your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Well, you're not.
because you don't want to die.
Or under your house.
Well, you're not my type.
I lived.
Have,
All right.
have you seen his hair?
All right. All right. Now that we're done with that, what I'd like to do is open it up to an open discussion.
This will get ugly.
Nope. I got a feeling two of us will have a lot to say about this, and four of us will listen in and.
Want to go
And then,
fuck
And
AI?
then every once in a while,
AI?
every once in a while, we'll go fuck AI. AI has become an actual thing, and no, Ferg, not in the Terminator sense.
He's like,
In
fuck
the sense-
Skynet.
in the sense of there are AI models out there that you can install on your computer, and you can say, hey, draw or paint Yoda in the style of Picasso, and it will give you 32 versions of what Yoda might look like if Picasso painted it.
But will it give you blue, period?
If you ask for it, yes.
But
Yes, it will.
but,
We
Yoda,
also-
but Yoda's not blue.
We also have
Not yet.
the bad timing
Timing.
of
Timing.
the first television show written by AI,
Which is?
No.
which came out 2 days after the writer's strike. Obviously, it was written before that because they filmed it and were done with it.
Are you
But-
saying the script was written by AI?
Correct. Correct. And it came out 2 days after the writer's strike, and the network immediately did not release anything else.
What is the name of this show?
I don't remember.
Was it released at all?
It was.
It-
The first episode was released.
Well, I know it was not South Park because they ripped on AI.
As they should.
No.
Yes.
If I know
Well,
anything about Trey and
yeah.
Matt, they would have written that show using ChatGPT.
The show was all about chat.
But they would have used ChatGPT to
then
write a
ripped-
show
And then ripped
about
on.
shitting on
Yeah.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's Trey and Matt.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. But my big thing is, Bill and I were talking earlier, and apparently Paul and Bill had talked about this before.
Yes.
Google is trying to figure out a way to license AI created music so that they can get paid for music created using their AI engine.
By the way,
Yes.
it's not just Google.
No, I'm sure everyone
That was
is.
the one that
Right,
popped up.
I'm sure everyone is.
And
But the one I really want to hear from is Dave, because as an artist, the fact that you can install this thing on your computer and say you can put 12 pictures of yourself and
Draw me somebody with capes and underwear.
well, no, you can put 12 pictures of yourself in there. You can set it to learn what you look like, and it runs through and takes about 25 minutes. And then you can say, hey, make a picture of me in a cyberpunk world next to a cyberpunk motorcycle.
And make my dick look bigger.
Yeah. And it pops out.
Might not be first part.
Literally. Literally.
It's not a good first pick
Um,
for a dating profile, by
but-
the way.
As an artist,
If you make it look big enough,
Oh, for Grindr. If you're on Grindr, I
because
guess.
again, as someone who's played with this, I will tell you, there are no pencil strokes in that. There are no. It is all perfectly smooth. It's not
Yeah.
not drawn.
You know, the advent of even Photoshop allowed you to make changes and alter a photo that you scanned in and so on and so forth. So this is, some people might disagree with me, but this is a natural progression. Now, not
I'm
necessarily.
going to say with Photoshop, I believe 7, maybe 8, when they started with the Smart Select. I agree with you because I mean that was the start.
Yeah. Now there's a Venn diagram I think within this is that on the surface, oh yeah, it's fun, and that's what we're seeing is you know, someone takes like you said a series of pictures and develops this image, and it's processed through, you know, a coding.
Yes.
Is what we're coming down to.
Yes.
Is you're putting in tags and telling, look for this, look for this, look for this, and it produces this image, which I really don't have an issue with. If you want to change your social media profile picture to, you know, you looking like a goat, then whatever. You know, is that taking money on my pocket or another artist's pocket? I don't really think so. The problematic part is
That's only
when
because you've never had anyone come up to you at a con and say,
I've had some
"Hey, draw me as a goat."
Larry,
You'd be
we've
surprised.
had some, yeah, Wolverine getting kicked in the balls. every year for 5 years.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
By a different character. Now, granted,
There's always a doink.
yeah.
like with the sharp edge balloon,
Oh yeah. It's got to have that.
the sound effect balloon.
Yeah.
What do
Oh,
you
yeah.
call it? It's like a
Batman.
triangular.
So,
Bam! Pow!
those things for the amateur, for the media application of it is, I don't necessarily see it as anything different than a filter or getting your buddy down the street to manipulate Photoshop. Go for it.
No, but you can literally say Daredevil
Right.
kicking
Right.
Wolverine in the balls
Right.
in Hell's Kitchen,
Right.
and it will give you a picture
Sure.
of
No. I think it's niche, and I think it's a novelty, and I think it will wear itself down to a certain degree. The underpinnings behind it are the business side of it, when corporations or what have you use it to monetize the system. This is what we're talking about initially, is just throwing a one bit off there about Yoda looking like Picasso in the Blue Period. Fine, nobody's going to get upset with that. The upsetting part is when guys that have, and girls and who have you have done their due diligence in order to get to a certain point and are not selected to do work when work can be done through this programming complex. Bill, you had something to say.
Well, I don't, I spent probably the last 2 weeks.
unemployed.
Yes. No. Maybe 3 weeks. And I asked Larry about AI. I asked a friend of mine, another friend of mine, about AI and explain it to me. And one of the examples that Larry gave to me was, all right, I got to write a cover letter for an application because Larry was unemployed.
And I hate writing cover letters.
And
I literally use ChatGPT
and
to write
he
them.
put in his resume
I hate
and
writing
said,
letters.
write me a cover letter for an IT job, and
It's
it
a
went,
letter.
because it searched the interwebs and found 1 million cover letters for IT jobs, and put this,
Except I put the job description into it and then said write a cover letter for
right,
that
for
IT
that
job.
particular job.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. It's a cover letter.
So you sound like somebody on The Bachelor, like, what I'm looking for
Well,
is
Oh, no,
just a
no, I had to
down-to-earth
fix- I had to fix
woman
it.
No.
who-
And then I've talked to a few other people. My son and I were talking today, and he said, Google what AI, how it's advanced in the arts. And that's why I don't want to step on Paul's toes. This is his genre, the writer's strike. And the idea is this, okay, I've got to write a paper for college. Or I've got to write a whatever. I've got to write a dissertation.
Yep.
And so I go on and I explain the parameters of the dissertation that I'm writing, and I say write a dissertation for thus and such, and I put in the parameters, and this computer program searches the internet and finds 1 million dissertations on the same topic, and following your parameters writes your paper. How much of that is plagiarism?
All of it.
How
All of
much
it?
of
All of
that
it.
is stolen work from somebody else?
All of it.
Every
And
part of
you're
it.
getting credit for it,
Yep.
and you know, and
If you do that, you're a piece of shit.
and
I just want to
We're talking to you, Gen Z.
and Paul said to me, you can't tell AI to write Shakespeare, but I was like, but you can.
You literally can't.
You got to do it the
Well-
old-fashioned way. Chain 50 monkeys to 50 typewriters.
I think
No, that's never happened.
Come on.
but you literally
But
can't.
here's
The
what-
Simpsons.
Here's
You gotta do
here's
it the
what
old-fashioned
here's
way.
what Paul said to me, and this is the
Yeah.
key.
Clip notes.
Is this Shakespeare is
Public
It's
domain.
public
public
domain.
domain.
But you don't get it unless you put it in.
But if I tell it, hey, write a Shakespearean poem about this event based on Shakespeare's works and people's writings about Shakespeare, and it creates it. And Paul said, yeah, fine, that's public domain. He said, but my work isn't public domain. My work was my own dissertation.
Right.
And
Yeah.
now it's out there on the internet.
Right.
And AI is going to grab my paper.
right.
And it's going to use my thought process
Right.
to write your dissertation.
Right.
And that's plagiarism.
Sarah said
Well,
that.
I mean, this gets down to human accountability. Whether
We're fucked.
whether the
Yeah.
internet existed or whether the library existed or what have you, but we've all had to write some sort of paper
Right.
over the years.
Well, yeah,
and
yeah.
and within that, if you as a
Cited.
student or there you go, you as a student or as a professional or as,
Bibliography.
or whatnot, if you want to, from an artist's point of view, if I want to draw a sketch or a thumbnail or create a observation about the entity that I'm trying to create, and I type in something simple like soldier. Now I type in something more complex, soldier, Russia, or we can do these Google searches already. Is
But
this
Google says, don't you mean Soldier Boy?
No, it doesn't say that. But you're refining your search, which
Right.
I am okay with, as long as it's a gestation period for another creative idea.
If-
But the world's not going to end because people are cheating on tests
Right,
or
but-
on
but
paper.
No. But
This has happened for thousands of, or
if I
whatever,
write a
hundreds of
paper,
years.
But
and-
Dave, in your example, your Google search is bringing up artists' renditions of a Russian soldier. They're
Okay.
not creating it out of
They're
Basically
taking an
a
amalgam.
bot.
That's an amalgam.
basically a bot that has
Right.
checked all of those pictures and created its own picture.
And well,
of a
and
Russian soldier.
I might make light of the situation, but
Wow.
I kind of quoted this earlier, but you load all this information in the machine and Kelly LeBrock pops out.
Right.
Like what do you?
Right.
I'm
like,
okay
what do we-
with that.
Right. Like what?
I second that.
So
Here's my thing on the
Oh, right
art
on.
front, and
Four-way.
the way I see it.
uh,
And
Oh,
this-
it's a
this
double
is-
four-way, and
this
I want
is
no part of it.
My
sir.
personal thought as far as the art stuff goes. All that does is drive your work up,
yeah,
because if anybody can,
I disagree.
No,
Here's why. Okay, I'm writing a paper, and 20 years ago, I'm writing a paper in college.
no, I'm not talking about papers. I'm talking
You
about
mean
art.
30 years ago?
I'm talking about if I can
You're
type
right.
in if I can type in Yoda as done by Picasso and have it popped out and print that out and put it on my wall.
That's
If I have an artist who can do that with his hands
Or her hand.
yeah.
or her hands, correct, with their hands, if you will,
No, we're not going that far. Unless it's multiple
then-
artists.
then that's going to be worth more money.
I guess
That is
That
where
is not
that,
true.
It,
It's not
it
true.
is.
I
No,
guess
it is.
I'm not looking at it from the art standpoint. I'm looking at it from the, I guess, the academia
right, the rough draft.
standpoint. In other words, if I'm writing a paper
Oh, no,
and I tell it blah 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 blah,
Right.
and it reads what C.S. Lewis had to say in, say, Mere Christianity in the screw tape letters, and it takes his words and incorporates them into mine, and does not give him credit for that.
Which it doesn't.
Because when I was a student,
Right.
and I quoted or referenced C.S. Lewis, that's a footnote. A footnote.
I've heard it both ways.
Football.
Like football?
Football. It's a footnote at the bottom of the page, and in the bibliography,
Bill is in Canada tonight.
Pardon?
I am
Canada.
referencing, I got this information from C.S. Lewis from Mere Christianity.
Right, and the
And
problem
I'm
is,
giving him credit for his work,
Right.
and I'm not pretending it's my
and
own
the problem with
original thought.
AI generated stuff is they don't know where it came from. They have
Right.
no clue.
Right.
So they can't.
So, have we
References.
mentioned
They
the current
they can't
lawsuit by
footnote-
Sarah
they can't.
Silverman et al.?
No, we
No.
have not mentioned
I
it.
don't.
Does anyone
I'm
know
not
about
aware
it?
of
Very
You're the only
significant.
one that masturbates to Sarah
It's
Silverman.
very significant.
Show of hands. Anyone know what I'm talking about? Okay.
Sarah
Sarah Silverman is it's Sarah
Who
Silverman
is
et
Sarah
al.
Silverman?
versus some
She's
Jewish comedian.
She's a comedian or a comedian, depending on how old
Yeah.
you are.
basically she is suing something ChatGPT. I don't know who the fucking defendant is in this, but it's basically about you cannot load my material into your algorithm without giving me rights and credit for it, because whatever comes out
Agreed.
is derivative of my original work,
Right.
and if it gets mixed up like a scrambled egg omelet kind of thing, like, it doesn't matter. You took my shit and you uploaded it into your system, and now your ChatGPT, I'm just using that as an
Right.
example. I don't know
Yeah.
if this is the system that
Right.
the plaintiffs are
Right.
suing,
Yeah.
but I presume it is likely to be.
Probably.
It's
the most popular.
But basically,
probably.
and someone asked, like, generate a female perspective off-color comic routine for 30 minutes. Well, it's gonna be
Carlos
derivative.
Mencia.
It's gonna be derivative of what was uploaded into it.
Right.
It cannot generate something spontaneously unless it had something to draw upon.
Right.
So it's not Funny Bot from South Park.
All right.
Well, I mean, we know that women aren't funny, right? I mean, we can all agree on
Right.
that.
Right. Of course.
So okay, can I just say this?
But I think this is going to be a Supreme Court case for damn sure, because whatever court it was in, it's going to be elevated.
Yeah.
Couldn't
And
agree more.
No, and it should be.
But
yeah,
can
but
I
I
just
don't
say
have a
this
lot of, I
about
don't have a lot of faith in the
about
Supreme
AI.
Court to actually
Yes.
handle this on its merits.
Hold on. Yes, for
okay AI? Now somebody brought up battle bots earlier.
yes.
Dave.
They
AI
run on Arduino.
Bible bots?
AI and battle bots.
Oh,
BattleBots.
No.
No.
No. Do we don't want to teach
I would
them
love
how
to
to
see
like.
Bible bots like.
No. I mean,
versus
battle,
judges.
dude. We're talking about
Bible
SkyNet,
bots.
Judgment Day.
We don't give
No-
them lasers.
No, no. There needs to be an end to AI at some point in time, and
How about before?
I'm
it
making
exists?
it at BattleBots.
Too late.
Do not give
It's like
war type bots,
They never go.
robots, intelligence like
While I agree with you,
because Skynet,
The-
Judgment Day, and then
Yeah, the
Sarah
US
Connor and yes,
the U.S. and Russian and probably Japanese and Indian governments do not agree.
Yeah.
I think
That's the thing. If we regulate it, they own it.
Yeah, just so you guys know. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention China. But just so you guys
Who?
know, I don't know if you guys are aware, India.
How about
landed-
Nigeria? That prince has been playing with me for decades.
Well, obviously you didn't send them
I
the
mean,
money.
come on.
Did you
Just-
send them the
just-
money?
I've clicked on unsubscribe.
Just
No,
send
no,
I
them.
keep getting
Just
the
send him,
messages.
just send him the money, and he'll stop.
Yeah, and they'll send you
messaging
$11 million with
quit
the
tickling his balls and just
This
send him the money.
Nigerian
But-
prince
Oh.
apparently has a lot of money invested in IT.
But you guys are aware that today, India became the 4th country in the
To
world.
land or crash something on
Yep.
the moon.
Exactly.
We're going to call it land
I thought Russia just crashed.
They did.
For the second
a
time.
long
I mean,
time ago.
It was
No,
clear.
like
They just
a
did
couple-
as
three
well.
No, I mean
days
their
ago.
first.
I mean,
Russia
it's
was just gonna
it's a
crash.
crash landing, but it's
It
still
was-
a landing.
It was
Yeah,
clearly
yeah. Correct me if
UFOs.
I'm wrong, UBC.
saw it on
It's
History
U.S., Russia, Japan, and India.
I do
And
not know.
the-
No. I don't
and
know
the-
about
the-
Japan, but
The pilots
China,
were something wrong.
Soviet Union, Russia, and India have touched the moon.
We
with
too
an
low.
Too low.
Oh,
Holy
oh,
fuck.
they're counting.
Bing,
separate-
bang, out.
Soviet
Unmanned.
Union and Russia are separate fucking entities.
They are.
Unmanned.
They
Okay, now I'm
Ask the Ukrainians.
Oh, they are completely unmanned.
Ask the Ukrainians.
100%.
Yeah, no, I got that.
Yeah.
I got that.
Matt
the way-
Damon's got.
By the way,
that.
listeners,
So,
Slava Ukraina.
So, I do want to go Ukraine.
Go Ukraine.
Big
No,
for
I'm,
Ukraine.
Not
I
right
want you-
now.
I know. I want Ukraine to win. Whatever way they can, that would be great.
I want to.
Well,
Are they in the
well,
World Cup?
In titillating
I
know
want them
there's
to
a-
win, and then kind of like
there's apparently in the
I want Ukraine to be like Israel in the '60s. Just
Well,
like you know
okay.
what, we win and we get more
hey,
territory.
we'll talk about this afterwards.
Anyway.
Let's finish up with AI. Paul, I know you have some stuff to say.
I'll
about
try
this.
and be as brief as I can.
Please, because you're the last one.
Well, I appreciate it. So, but all right. So, there are an array of things. The first thing to start
Yeah,
with
that's
is
how you make programs.
there you go.
It's a raid.
There are
There's an array.
arrays.
There's an array set.
The first thing is everyone has heard there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
That is
was Shakespeare.
that is overstated. Thank you.
Or King Solomon?
Right?
Okay, but that is overstated.
Yeah, but he was pornographic.
Oh my goodness. That is
Banned
overstated.
in the public libraries or school libraries.
That is overstated. No one is going to say Rembrandt is derivative. No one is going to say the Cubists are
Hans
derivative.
Holbein the Elder. I mean, come on. Let's not.
Have you seen Da Vinci?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
that's
going.
just-
I'm going.
I don't
there.
know if it's the point to be specific about the particular artist that Paul is quoting so much as the idea behind it is that the human spirit has a creativity to it that is,
Right. I will bypass.
Hold
Just so
this.
you know,
I will bypass my
I know
examples.
almost nothing about art. I was literally.
I will
just throwing a
bypass-
name
Let's
out
let
there.
talk. Let's let Paul talk.
I will bypass my examples so as not to be interrupted. The whole point, the whole thing is, if you want,
I would have come with Ben Golf.
my whole point is, if you want human creativity to continue, then you need to give credit where credit is due. If there's AI out there that's taking 98% of what they create and they're not paying, because this is the thing, it's money.
Yes.
Then they should get 2% of whatever they produce, because I'll take the money if they take part of my thing. But then 98% of what they should pay out is to everything else that they, and I don't care if everyone gets 2 cents. The point is if you're going to take everybody's stuff, you get very little. Because if you don't do that, then the human creative spirit's going to say, why do I want to do this? And they're not going to do it. And there are better creative people, and there are good creative people, and they're the best creative people. And if you're not attempting to create high art, we're not going to get any. And if you don't think you can make a living, I'm not saying be a rich dude with a big mansion. Make a living trying to create high art. We're not going to get any of it, and we're screwed. That's it.
And a drug dealer on speed dial.
There you go.
'Cause
Yes, sir.
I want to be a rock star.
UPC has a question.
The quick thing
I want a
is,
bathroom that I can play
if you're an
baseball.
artist,
Yes.
a traditional medium kind of artist, a physical medium artist,
Sure.
right? And you don't want
You mean
any
like
of your
two we have here?
any of your product, any of your work to ever be incorporated into
bands.
any AI whatsoever, what safeguards are there for you?
Zero.
Nothing.
Right?
At the moment, zero.
Regardless of how much you get paid, what if you get paid 100%? If that's not suitable for you, if you want your
Correct.
art to be one-off,
It should be licensed.
one-off art, that's
It should be licensed.
All right.
right. The other is
Correct.
the dangerous thing is we already have derivative shit. Have you listened to pop music over the past 25 years?
No, but the two
There's
terms,
so much derivative
the
shit.
two terms
And-
go
And
together.
there's so much of the public, the consumers, who don't give a shit that it's derivative. How many times have I had
Right.
to explain to someone in the trail that the thing that you're listening to, the music,
Right.
is actually this song
Correct.
from 1983
Correct.
or this
And-
song
oh,
from
10
1968.
seconds.
Like
And
And
Or
they're
it is-
like, I don't care. I
Like-
don't care. That was before I was born. I don't care.
like that guy who was
So they-
ripping off P. Diddy.
So
There
don't.
you Yeah. No, that Jimmy Page guy.
I'm
No,
done.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill's already told us.
10
I know.
seconds.
Well,
Right, exactly. No, I agree with you 100%.
So the public is ripe for AI to be derivative and steal.
Correct.
I'm
No.
using the word steal.
No, you are correct.
intentionally.
Oh no, we have
and
we have
because almost no one is going to push back.
Correct. But
Almost
here's
no one will.
the bottom line is the creator, the artist,
And
needs to have the choice.
Here-
right, and you know
here
how our
You
legal
can't
system is
take,
set up.
you can't use my stuff unless I let you.
And do you know what?
And I want
Surely you know.
X%.
All right.
This
Of
person
course.
has to
Right.
hire a lawyer
Of course.
to defend their own shit.
Of course.
Guys, as much as I hate to do this, we're gonna tamper down for a second. I'm gonna wrap things up. I would like to point out that if any of you have a Gmail account or anything Google, like Android phone or whatever, you have totally given Google permission to scour all of your shit.
Yeah. That's why I use
Um,
Proton Mail.
You have told them that they can read your emails, they can save all of your data, they can check out what games you play.
Well, hey Google,
They
just so
can,
you know, my balls are sticking to my
What?
leg, and I need air conditioning
Well,
now.
just so you know, Google has one of the top AI models,
Yep.
which I could literally, if they didn't think they'd get sued, which they would, I could literally, let's say Dave has a Gmail, I could say, hey, I need you to write me a email in the style of dave@gmail.com, which I know is not Dave. And it can write an email using his.
I think Dave@gmail.com is actually owned by the guy from MySpace.
Well, that would be Tom.
Oh, I thought that
But-
his name was Dave.
No, his
I've
name
heard
is
it both
Tom.
ways.
No, that's the guy from Wendy's.
But
Oh,
anyway,
Yeah.
anyway, everyone,
just an orphan.
quit using Google.
Fuck
Just
yeah.
stop it.
DuckDuckGo it.
If you're gonna search for something, use DuckDuckGo. If you're gonna
Plus blocker.
if you're gonna use if you need an email address, go to Rocket Mail or
Proton Mail.
Proton Mail.
You have to pay for it, but it's worth it.
You do.
Nah.
There's nothing free.
Privacy is important, especially in these AI times.
Fuck Skynet.
Right? I guarantee you, if Dr. Paul could pay.
Battle Boss and Skynet, it's gonna happen.
If Dr.
And I'm
if
having
Dr. Paul could pay $5 a year to have his dissertation excluded from all AI,
You
he
betcha.
would in a heartbeat.
You bet your sweet
And-
booty, as my mom would say.
There have been presidential candidates who have brought up the idea of personal information, saying that if
And
Google,
no one cares
if Google is no, because they
because
lost.
culture war
Yeah,
is more important in politics
They got
than
locked out earlier.
those things.
Well, and like you said, Gen Z doesn't give a shit. Their shit is all out there.
But
They
you
are
know-
all
no,
on.
no, no, no. Gen Y doesn't give a shit.
We
Gen
can't.
Z, half of them are actually starting to give a shit.
Well, starting to, it's too late.
What's the difference?
All
Spelling.
right.
10 years.
So, guys,
One letter.
Yes, sir.
on that bleak note about
Oh,
our
we have
future,
not begun to get bleak, sir.
that is true. But we are going to go ahead and call it for the night.
Fuck SkyNet.
Fuck SkyNet. And,
Fuck Google.
Fuck Google, for sure.
Oh, and fuck
Well,
Elon
let's
Musk.
wind it up with last call.
Amazon is essentially
First
like
of all,
a,
Elon Musk doesn't own Amazon, so you don't know what you're doing.
I'm sorry.
So,
He owns
right,
X.
yeah.
Let's
yeah,
say goodnight.
Yeah. Let's say
Starting
goodnight.
with
Good night,
And
Gracie.
on, let's go. Bill, say goodnight.
Good night.
UPC,
Good night, UPC.
Ferg,
Fuck SkyNet. Good night.
Dave,
don't fake it.
Paul,
Ta.
Larry.
Good night, Dave.
No, Hal 9000. Good night, guys.
Look, I'm a little drunk, okay?